Hey there, YouTubies. Today we're working on this 93 Honda Accord, and it's got a little bit of a story behind it. I picked this car up for pretty cheap with a blown motor in it, and I ended up trading this car to my best friend Brandon for an El Camino with an LS swap that was separated. It comes with all the parts, and I actually have the LS motor over there in the garage. But back to this thing, my buddy swapped the motors out of another Honda I gave him in the deal, because I gave him two Hondas for the El Camino, and this one had a blown motor, the other one was wrecked. So he took the motor out of that one, put it in this one to make one good one. Now he says it fires up and it runs, moves, but this thing's been sitting back here for, I'd say, at least 2 months, and I have yet to even touch it. I don't know if it runs truly, but we're gonna find out. I do know we need a battery. We need a torsion bar because it's Bluetooth right now and I don't trust it. There's a couple things to mount, like some electrical to put on, and you know, some AC hoses that didn't get connected, but that's all the easy stuff in this part. I'm gonna come over here and everything's taken apart. That window needs to be replaced. That's that right there. But my buddy broke this, or it was broken before, I don't know. But this is the actual like ignition lock cylinder, which I have another one out of the other parts car I took, and it snapped right here on that one over there. So I gotta actually drill these, tap them, because it like mounts to the steering column in here. And that's your ignition. You can't fucking turn the car on without it. So I gotta take this whole dash out to be able to drill this thing off, which sucks, but they actually come out pretty easy. I've done a couple swaps on these Hondas before, on these dashboards. But I get the key in there, put all this plastic back together, put the window back in it, and hopefully she's a good running rig. So now I'm gonna quit talking to you guys. I'm gonna get to work. Well, I did forget to mention how I ended up back with this car. So before I get to work, my buddy, he did the motor swap on it and everything, and I don't know if he gave up, didn't want it no more, but life happened and stuff changed, so I ended up with this back. I bought it back from him. That's right, I bought it back. But that's alright. Maybe I'll make a profit off it, but even if I don't, I get the same amount of money I put in it. I'm not mad at all. So now I'm getting back to work. I'm gonna start with the dashboard today, because I feel like that's the more, well, the longer job. It's not difficult. Just a bunch of bolts here and there and there and there and there. There's just bolts everywhere, all right? So it's just a long process. Super easy job. But also I'm waiting on that torsion bar that's Bluetooth up there on the front. So we're gonna start with what we got. While I cleaned out this seat here, I was just thinking it's kind of interesting that my buddy, he's a mechanic by trade every day, and here I am, the non-mechanic, putting this car back together piece by piece, and I don't even know what I'm doing. Just a big puzzle, figuring out where it all goes. Little nervous, little nervous, I will admit, but it's all right. I'll make it through it. So I decided to start with this thing, the little black thing, because it's a trim piece, right? But there's a couple screws way back here, way back, okay? And don't be like me. Don't drop them down that hole, because they're gone. They're not coming back. Just don't be like me. Well, now that piece is out, so take the gauges out, take the little heater thing out, and then I'll start working on the clock, because there's a bolt behind there, and then there's a couple bolts down there, and a couple bolts on the side, a couple bolts on this side. I think there might be one behind this. No, actually, I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I take those couple bolts, what, 6 or 8 bolts out after I get these things out and bye-bye dashboard, so I can get to this thing, which we're almost to it. And they're out. They gone. All right, my YouTube friends. I got the little cross brace off the steering wheel. I got these bolts out. There's one here on the bottom side of your dash under the carpet. Yeah, I ripped the carpet. Whoopsie. But there's one here, one on the other side, and then there's 2 like this on the other side, on the passenger side. So I got those out, and almost forgot this little guy, the one on the clock. I always forget him back here. Can you see him? Can you see? Can you? I don't know. Okay, but it's back there. And I break these dang clocks every time I pull them out. I had to stop for a warm snack because I was getting ahead of myself. I forgot. You have to take this off to be able to get the dashboard out. I just don't have the room on the bottom side down here to get it up high enough and out. So I gotta disassemble this now. But during my warm snack, I put the shade umbrella, or the Shadebrella 9000, whatever you want to call it. It's up, providing shade for this guy in this car. So I'm taking this little cruise control thing off, which is pretty easy. You just pop this little cover off, just boop, unscrew this bad boy with 2 screws, and then it just pulls right off. And I'm thinking, if you're working on yours, disconnect your battery. But in my case, there was never one to start. Especially pulling an airbag. You don't want that to go boom in your face. And then once you have this little cruise control thing off here, this little star head, you unscrew that, that holds the airbag. And then you come over here, and then you just pull this little cap, and that's the other star head for the airbag, and then that slides right out, and then you disconnect the electrical in there. You see that little yellow clip right there? Yep. I got the airbag out, right? Took the nut off, and I also took a piece of electrical tape and ran it down and then sliced it on every layer, so I know the steering wheel will be straight again when I put it on, because nobody wants to drive like this, you know, all weird. So I just put a piece of tape there, and then these are pretty cool. Just give them a little shimmy, fight these electrical cords here, and this thing comes right out, gone, just like that. And then take a couple screws off of this and that, and this thing down deep in there. I don't know if you can see it yet, but, and then that'll all come off. Dashboard will come out one step closer. That's this guy, but careful, because this thing is, they just barely give you enough room to slide it over. Okay, and then 2 screws, and the whole turn signal thing comes out. But careful of all these little pieces in the middle, just like that. And then some electrical, and she's out. See that? All that room just allowed this bad boy to just slide right out. Here's another thing not to forget. This electrical cord comes down here to the little fuse panel. You want to unplug that, and then you want to unplug these 2, and then the dashboard will come out. And these ones, they come off the back in the center console area. Unclip those too. And here is a dashboardless Honda Accord. Okay, there it is. She's gonna go back in, but here we are. Now I can drill these rivets and get to this broken thing. You see that? Look at that shredded thing. Replace it and go back in. I got the old one drilled out, and here's the new one. That came out of a 91, and this is a 93. but they don't match. The steering column sizes are two different sizes. So now I gotta hunt up a new one and then install it. So I'll be back. So instead of abandoning ship today, I just gave up on the first mission. I'm gonna come over here to the back door because there's no window. It needs to be installed. And I got it back here. So I'm learning how to take this door panel off. And I see one screw, two screw, and I think the rest is just those pull pins, snap, whatever they're called. You know, I got the old window regulator out because I found another one in the floorboard upon this pile of goodies. And there's some headers right there, and then the downpipe for it, and an air box, and some other goodies back here. But I found that window regulator. Do I know if this one works? No, because I've never put power to this car. But I trust my buddy's opinion, and if there's a regulator in this car, that means this one probably did not work, did not roll at all. So I'm gonna put this one in with our new window that I stashed back here, right there. Figure it out. That's how I do it. I got the new one of these things put in the door, and I can't get the glass in because I need a battery to roll the window up and down. Terrible thought. But I also need the ignition lock thing to go on the steering wheel. So I'm gonna run to the parts store and I'll be back later. Well, it's another day for me and another second for you guys. But it came with a battery, a brand new one. So hopefully we get that back window in and that done today. Still waiting on the ignition lock stuff. That'll be in tomorrow or the next, probably the next. But at least I could do the window. So I'm gonna get started. I'll put the battery in, see if the window will start rolling up and down. Well, I mean the regulator roll up and down so I can put the window in it. You know? Alright, my friends. I hit the struggle bus pretty heavily. So I think this switch is bad. I'm not entirely sure. It could be a fuse, but the little panel that says what fuse is what is not in there. And the one online confused me. So, but let me hit this little key here. Okay. Driver's rolls down. Passenger rolls down and back up. Okay. But there's like no movement. Nothing in the back. See that? Nothing. So, I don't know. But you do this with your fancy little key. It fires up. Pretty good fuel leak on that injector. But that's just another fix. Oh yeah. The fart pan muffler. You gotta have one of those. I'll give it to my buddy. He said it would start. It starts. Yeah. That's how you shut it off. I sat down for a warm snack break and contemplated on what to do next after waiting for parts. I don't want to. I feel like I gotta keep moving forward. So I think I'm gonna put the dashboard in. I think I can put the new ignition lock stuff in around it with some wobblies. I'm pretty sure they screw in rather than rivet in. I'll probably be wrong and have to take it back out, but I need something to do. So I'm gonna put it back in to the best of my abilities and maybe just take it down the alley, because I know it starts. Now I want to know if it moves. With some mumbling and some grumbling and a few dad words later, she goes right back in. And the bolt holes match pretty close. You know? Like, hot dang. Hot diggity dog is what I call that. So, now I bolt it in and get the steering stuff back together. I got the steering column mostly put together as far as I think I can go, and that, but it's gonna be pretty close quarters. I'm gonna have to move this little wire here to be able to get to this. This is where the ignition stuff will strap on, just enough to get a wobbly and a tiny ratchet in there. But I'm almost to getting to driving this thing. Okay, YouTubies, I'm running out of time today. I gotta go pick up the little dude from school, but I did take a quick run down the alley, only about 100 feet, and it came back, made it back on its own power. I didn't get a video it because I forgot. I got too excited, so I'll do a better video at my dad's place when I get this finished up. We're gonna have to make sure we have second and third and fourth gear, right? Right. So, I'll be back. What am I doing today? Not sure. Part did come in. Torsion bar. So we get rid of that Bluetooth one. And other than that, a lot of diagnostics. You know, I gotta figure out. When I did take this out on a ride yesterday, the D4 light on the transmission was flashing, and I was gonna leave it, but I researched it last night just to check, and I shouldn't. I'll probably ruin the transmission, so I'm gonna have to figure out why. I didn't learn, but I have the process on my phone of how to figure it out, so it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna be very interesting, so I'll let you know when something changes. Hey, look, something changed. The hood's up. So, really easy. Since the thing's already out, all I gotta do is just tighten these bolts. Take the bolts out, put the torsion bar in, move on. Bluetooth torsion bar, deleted. She's got a steel one. The battery's out, because in the directions, it told me to find this little blue clip that was behind this little thingy. Yeah, that's right. I had to take more of the car apart to be able to get further. I don't know. But anyways, it told me to just put a paper clip in there, but I didn't have a paper clip. I had a little chunk of wire, stuck it in there. Now, I put the battery back in that spot, and then turn it over, and I count the flashes that'll come on this little guy in there, whatever one, the 4. I count the flashes and it'll tell me whatever number, and based on that number it'll tell me a code that I can look up on the internet. My googly box. Can you see that guy?
Talking to me?
If you count right now, there'll be 7 flashes. See that? And then it'll restart. But I've gotten 7 multiple times. So that says that, I think that says I've only got the 1 code. So now I gotta look up what the code is and fix it. I got my googly box out. And code 7 says a shift solenoid A circuit open or shorted. Good news, but not bad news. It's not horrible news. Sounds electrical. Just my forte. I did some looking and took a guess, and I'm guessing that this here and the other one down there, back here behind my thumb, this, yep, see my finger right there, that thing. Okay, so it said circuit open, so I traced back to these wires, and my first thought was this little thing right there. Can you see the copper showing? Yeah, that's what I initially thought. Then I looked inside here, and the little pin in here is also broken. So I don't think that's really making any contact. But I looked further down in here, and this wire right here is trying to do the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth style, and the car don't like it. It's not reading it. So I don't know. And the only real guess that I can come up with that something like that would happen would be a motor swap. Was this you, Brandon? Oh well. Either way, you tested my electrical skills, and it was fun. But I think that's my issue, and since I don't have this little wire or this clip, I'm gonna snip this wire and find a whole new clip and butt connected in, and then for right now I'm just gonna bypass the little clip and put in my own little chunk of wire from here to down here, and see if the code goes away. And if the code goes away, then I'm done looking, and then I know I just need to replace that connector and maybe the shift solenoid itself, so I don't have butt connectors. But we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, I got my wire jumper in, but I'm going to tape off these ends so we don't get no sparky arky off anything. And the reason I did it this way is because I realized I don't have my little connectors or my crimpers, so that's alright. But I've really been only doing this job with hand tools, little stuff. I got this bag with some pliers, some screwdrivers, and this 20-piece socket set, and some drill bits. But literally this entire job has been done with this very little set of tools. I got my wire in with electrical tape. I also had to disconnect this and take the horn thing out to reset the computer. So I took a warm snack break during that, you know, why not? But now it's time to get back to work, so I'm coming over here and we're gonna put our screwdriver in and see what kind of effects we get. Put our screwdriver in. There's one click. Two. Check it out. The D quit flashing. So that was definitely our problem. And you know what that means, right? I'm a genius!
This is stuff that my mother used to tell her friends about. My son is a genius. My son is a genius.
No, not really. But what it means is I'm actually getting somewhere, and I might actually be able to get a nice, good video ripping through my dad's field out there. So I'm gonna quit talking again and probably take another warm snack break. I'm kidding. I want to fully admit I expected complete failure when I put that wire in there. So I am just shocked and happy as all anyone can be right now. Really, I'm not joking. Okay, YouTubies. So I did good. Figured out the transmission issue. But then immediately got slapped in the face and felt stupid because I looked on my little, my phone for the fuse thing and realized the back two windows, the ones that wouldn't roll down, the fuses weren't in them. Ah, so I've been fighting this fight. This Honda, just like my Honda, got me with a fuse. Oh, you know how stupid I feel. But check this out. I put my key in, okay? And then you hear that? She makes noise. And you see this? Look at this. What the hell? I think I learned my lesson with these Hondas. Start with the fuse. Since I was able to figure out the fuse, I got the window in. So it finally has a window, and it rolls up and down. I just gotta say, you could do it too with the proper motivation. Alright, YouTubies, check this out. Got the door panel on. We checked the locks. They lock, so that's good. But right as I finished that up, guess what came in? The part we've been waiting on. The ignition switch and stuff. So, I'll take this bad boy. And now I'm gonna have to fish this old one out from down here. Clips in over there. That way I could fish this one down there. And then we can slap this thing right around the steering column where she's supposed to be. Put the key in her, test her out. Probably don't want to watch that. Maybe you do, but you're not gonna. As simple as that. We have a new key. All it was a 2 5/16 bolts, tighten her down to where she didn't strip. And now check this out. Look at that light. And she turns her over. So to me, that's a victory. Now that I got that in, I can go to putting all this plastic back together and she'll be almost complete. Ready to drive and be registered. I did a little check, tighten some bolts down. My fix is going to remain until I can find a clip. I broke this little ground, so I'm going to have to put a new ground on, but I got it temporarily on. Then I need to put the little air box stuff back in. Maybe an air intake kit. I don't know. But we got some AC lines to deal with. What else? A couple minor things. Fluid checks, you know, power steering pump and the oil and the transmission fluid. So we got to check all those. And then check this out though. Door panel. The interior is complete. It doesn't look like a stolen car anymore. It's got a brand new key. That works. Maybe. Uh-oh. Don't forget, the steering wheel locks, so it makes it hard to turn the key. But got that turned. Oh look, the turn signal works. But that one works. What about the brights? Oh, even the little bright light. But check it out. Fired right up. Gotta give it credit for somebody that don't know what he's doing, really. It's a vacuum leak. But I'll find those. You know? With working windows. Gotta say, we've knocked off the emissions off this car. You know? An extra manifold. take her on yonder and do something with it. But as of now, I still got a few things to do. Oh, we got to check engine light, which is probably the O2 sensor, because I noticed those wires were snipped as well. But that's easy. So I got a few more missions, but it's done for the day. Just wanted to show you how far I got. It was running. Couldn't help myself but take it down the alley and come back again. But she needs some help, okay? I'm just gonna admit it, she needs help. But look at this thing. I'm amazed that it was taken apart partially. I took it apart more, and it's back together further than it was when I ever got it. I impress myself too easily, I guess. Easily amused, amazed, impressed, all of the above, okay? I'll be back later. So I got this pile of parts, which is 4 of them turn into one piece, which is the airbox. I'm gonna sneak that in. Then I also need, I found this oxygen sensor in this other manifold that was in here. So what I'm gonna do is take this one off inside and swap them out. That way I've got a plug connector I can plug in, and maybe I lose a check engine light. Probably not. But if I do, it was another good attempt at trying to win. And then other than that, I'm gonna have to call my dad to come trailer this to his house so we can lift it up and figure out where the coolant leak is. Because if you squeeze this thing, just listen. Listen. If I'm correct, that's not supposed to happen. And I need to get it up. Then I get under, but I don't have jack stands. So I gotta get it to the shop. Old Plum C, you know what I mean? That's okay. I'll get it there. We'll finish it up over there. And then that means I can actually do a good little video at the end of running this around my dad's property to make sure she runs good, shifts into 4th gear and stuff like that. And then we clean her out and we put a for sale sign in it. Okay, YouTubies, we're getting somewhere ish. So I got my butt whooped getting the oxygen sensor out of here. Had to break it because I don't have the proper tools, and I had to scrounge and found this toolbox in one of the other cars that's stored out there, and it had just enough. So I was able to break that one and use a socket with my ratchet. Give her a couple love tappies, and she untwisted right out like she should have to start. And then, you know, I did this on this end. Took the clip apart because I don't have an open end wrench. So what I did, like you see here, take the clip apart so I could get the closed end wrench on there. And then I can give that a couple love tappies and say see you later. It took a minute, but the oxygen sensor is gonna go in. Hopefully it was a good one and I'm not doing this for nothing. What are the chances? That's right. You might be thinking, oh man, he took that electrical clip apart. Yes, I did. But I took pictures of it before I took it apart. So I know, I'm confident anyways, that it'll go back the right way. Just an extra step, as usual, to get the job done. And something of the sort, this one took a little bit more than just a love tap, you know. But I think it's because it's not got like something solid holding it. But it's out, unscrews, okay? And it's ugly, as can be. But that's okay. We're gonna stuff it in and move on, and if we gotta do it again, at least it was out. And the next one will be easier. Yep. Back on. You know, and I'm not saying I know what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna toot my own horn, you know? Beep, beep. A few dad words and pinched phalanges later, and the heat shield's back in. So now we just bolt it in and clip this bad boy in. Move on to the next task. Alright, my friends. So I moved on to this little AC compressor here. And you see that line's gone, but this one's snipped. So there's this nut. And, well, I tried a socket. It's too rounded. I tried the old vice grips. She wouldn't lock on good enough because it was so stripped. So, my round 3, I grabbed a trusty old Bangarooski flathead and a little bang bang. And what I did is I just made a little notch. I don't know if you could see it in there. Right there. And she just started twisting. And now she's hand doable. And I'm just impressing myself again. Yep. There's one right there. And there's 2 right there. I even found some nuts in the old bolt box that I have back there. Kind of surprised me because they're Chevy nuts instead of Honda nuts. Well, I'm getting somewhere. I don't know, definitely not in any rush, or definitely not breaking any records. But I got our airbox in. Maybe too early. What else did I do? I got our AC lines on. So my list of stuff to do is getting short. Some battery cable ends and fix the electrical mess I made to, well, my temporary electrical stuff. And oh, the coolant leak. There's a coolant leak somewhere that I gotta find, but I'll get there. So I think I'm gonna leave off today where I'm at. It's getting to be time where I gotta go pick up the little dude from school again, and I need to go get some ramps and some jack stands from the shop, because I'm gonna just do the rest of the stuff here and then maybe drive it to my dad's house and do a little video. You know, my plans always change, so I should never go with a plan, but I'm gonna continue to fail at that. Before I call it a day, I just want to shout out to the old Vice Grip Garage, because he's a good inspiration as to what I do every day, and what not better to wear the Independent Chevelle shirt while I'm doing this Honda. But you know, it's great. Thanks Vice Grip Garage and everybody else on the YouTube that does what they do, and they help me do what I do. So continue what you're doing. So as I mentioned, my plans always change, and I went ahead and got some temporary tags so we can do some legal driving. And then I also brought the ramps and some jack stands and some fluids. Almost looks like a Prestone commercial over there, but it's because it's what Walmart had. So I guess it's fluid check and find the coolant leak today. So I guess I'm gonna get lost in this car. Hot diggity dog, man. Check out that flex. My wheel chuck don't work no more. This thing's ready for extreme 4x4. Check out that lean. Yeah, you're right. I could have drove it right up that ramp. It starts, it drives. But then I wouldn't have got a cool ass flex video. Like really? Look at that. You think this is as cool of a flex? Nope. This ain't extreme 4x4. This is take your car down a dirt road. Now you're probably thinking, now why did that idiot put that thing in backwards? You could have just drove off it when you were done. Here's my answer. I need to get right here. You see this? That's available space. See, I don't need available space right here because I got all this right here, okay? And while I was doing this, I noticed someone likes disobeying the rules like me. Rotation the wrong way. Perfect. I think I found the coolant leak, and I think it's right here. If you look at this, right there, the little drip there, that's the O-ring. Shouldn't be able to see that, but that's okay. We just gotta take it out. And when I get up top up here, this is where it ends up going. I don't know if you can see it. This little tube, and then it's under the coil, but that goes sideways into the intake manifold, and then that tube should be able to just hopefully slide right out, and then I can reinstall that O-ring the right way and slip it all back together, and then no more coolant leak, minus the drain plug for the entire block. I gotta address that still, but one thing at a time now. Alright, YouTubies, so I called my buddy on a wing, and he gave me a little insight on that little pipe. So the reason that O-ring is coming out the way it is because it's the wrong O-ring. When he did this build or swap, he had trouble finding that O-ring. So I found the right ones, but I had to order them. So it's gonna be a couple days before they get here. So what I'm gonna do is put this radiator hose back on, and then do whatever couple other fluid checks I need to do, and then we'll just wait on the coolant section. Since we're waiting on parts, we're gonna check our check engine light, see if we still have one, and if we're good there, we're gonna move on and we're gonna clean up the inside, vacuum it out, wipe it down, stuff like that. So let's see. Oh, it went away. Let's start her up, see. Looks pretty good. Alright, well, I think we fixed another thing. But I think the reason the idle is raising and dropping like that is because of the lack of coolant in the motor. So we're not going to run it too long for obviously overheating reasons until we can get that O-ring in that little pipe I had showed you guys. But we're waiting on that part. So it looks like we successfully took away our check engine light. So you know what that means, right? Cleanup time. Yep. Since I got the temporary tag, I just wanted to say maybe we'll do a little video on the road instead of just on the property like we've done in the past. We'll just expand our test drives. I brought this thing back down to the ground, and I came back in here for some S's and G's pretty much, and check this out. Okay, she's holding an idle at a constant level, but look who came back. So, oh look, never mind. Anyways, that thing came back, so I now have something to do for the day. I got our little wire in, our little connector deal, and now we turn the key, and we got 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know if you counted that right with me, but I got 1 long flash and then 6 short flashes. So that should be code 16. Now I gotta look that up. So I checked my googly box here and found out that code 16 is fuel injectors, which pretty much makes almost perfect sense, because you come up here to the front with me, and just like when we started, this guy started leaking again. So all these other ones are dry. So I might be putting a set of fuel injectors in this bad boy too. Oh well. My googly box told me that it was injectors. Kinda would suspect that would happen. I didn't expect it right now. But I looked up the price of injectors, and they're a little more pricey than what I want to pay. So instead, I went and got a, I went ahead and got a injector seal kit. Yes, I got all 4 of them. So I'm gonna do that, and while that comes in the mail, I'm gonna get the vacuum out. Yep, vacuum time. Hot diggity dog! I'm glad to see you guys stuck around for the rest of this video. It's been a few days for me. I've got some visitors and some help in the garage today. I got Phoebe, Minnie, Nazboo, Roxy, and Grumpy Grandma. That's right, I call her Grumpy Grandma. But I've been waiting for 3-4 days for this little O-ring. Yep, this one. And my injector seals say they're supposed to show up today. Hopefully. And they're not here yet. But I'm going to do the right thing and keep going forward so I'm not waiting. I also got the little electrical clip that was smashed, so I can get that done properly. And that's our task. An O-ring, an electrical clip, and what was the third? That's right, injector seals that aren't here. But that's cool. I gotta get the car up. So I got the ramps from Grandpa. And we're gonna lift it up and put them backwards. That's right. If I'm gonna lift the car up, I'm gonna put them in backwards so I have more access room. Again, yep. You noticed I did that earlier in this video, but I'm gonna do it again. That's right. Alright, YouTubies. So I done messed up again. And I got the wrong clip. But don't panic. It's still organic. We can use it. So what we're gonna do, or what I did actually, I went and got my little tiny screwdriver and bloop, that little white thing out. We don't really need it no more. And then, you see that little metal thing in there? Just give her a shove on out. Okay? Then she just slides out. Okay? And then this one's already done here. So, all you do is just slide that wire in the hole in the back you need until it clicks. And then you grab your little white thing and you clip it back on there the proper way. And that's that simple. I got the electrical clip done and soldered together and forgot all about you guys. So, there it is. I don't know if you could see the beautiful job that's done there. And then I started taking apart the water pipe thing for the coolant leak and realized my buddies in the YouTube world want to watch maybe, or forgot, maybe want to see progress. So this is kind of where I'm at. You can see this little tube right there. That had a little diverter thingy on it, which is down here now in my drain pan. You see it? But it just lets the water in and then pushes it in different directions. Now I'm under the car, and I don't know if you can see that little black pipe all the way up there with the other pipe coming teeing off it. I'm gonna take that rubber hose off, and then there's a bolt right behind that oil filter to get that black tube out so I can get to the O-ring I need to replace. I got the piece out after crawling in and out 4 or 5 times to get the right socket or wrench. Well, actually it was only twice, but I got it out. And here's our old O-ring. You can see the little splitterooski in her, and look at that fresh one right there. So we're gonna put this one in this little area, sneak it back on, put another one of these on the top just to be safe, sneak the pipe back in, and then we'll sneak the little diverter back on, and then we'll fill her up with some coolant. I got the pipe in with the nut back on and the little T-hose that came off the side of it down on the underside. So now I'm at top, and you can see that pretty orangish O-ring there. And turns out this thing, it's not a diverter valve, it's your thermostat. Here, let me put some light down there. See the thermostat in there? What a smart guy. So I gotta get that back on. Bolted in these all 3 bolts here. After sneaking it on, put this hose on, put this back on, put the coil back on, and that's filling it up with coolant and doing injectors. And easy as that. We have the thermostat housing, radiator hose, the coil, these hoses all mounted back together. Now it means injector time. Gotta say, never done injectors on any car, so this is a first for me. But looking at this one, it looks pretty easy, honestly. You've got the connectors for the electrical connection in there. Then you got that big old nut for the fuel line. So this is the fuel line. Take the electrical stuff off, and then it looks like there's just 3 nuts along here to get those. And then I don't know how to get the injectors out yet, but I'll find out once I get the rest of this top stuff off to be able to get to them. Here is, as a smart one would call it, the fuel rail. And it looks like that the injectors are just like pinched in between the fuel rail and the block. They just slip in and out, so it should be an easy job. That one over there came out with the whole fuel rail, but these guys, 1, 2, and 3, all stayed in here. So I guess I'm gonna take them out, put their new rubbers on them, put them back in, and hopefully this guy stays sealed. Alright, YouTubies, I got one done, and they're really easy to do. So just pull this guy out, which is very loose, okay? And we set him aside for a minute. You grab some sort of needle nose. You grab this little rubber gasket in there. You just pull her out, as so. And then you replace it with the right one with the new kit. I also think I found the reason as to why that injector was leaking. And check this out. She's barely holding together, all shredded. So then they give you in the new kit a couple sizes. You pick the right size. There's also a medium one that I used because it matched this guy. See, here's a new kit. It comes with 2 bigger ones that you have to fit. This is one of these actually fit in the block. You pick which one is the right one according to the ones you have. This little thing right here goes on top of the injector for like a little spacer. And then you pick the O-rings for the top. And that'll seal the fuel rail on the injector. And you're good to go. Really easy to do a seal kit on injectors. See? Now here's our old injector. That's that little rubber spacer thingy on the top you want to replace. And there's your little O-ring that you want to pick the right size. And then the other stuff goes down here. That goes in the block. There's also a ridge on the inside of this gasket that you want to remember when you pull the old one out, if it's on the top side or the bottom. And in my case, the ridge is like 2/3 of the way towards the top. 1/3 of the way down. Either way you want to look at it. Once you got them all in, you should have something similar to this. Sneak our fuel rail on there. You gotta align all 4 of these injectors and 3 of these studs all at the same time. So it might be a little difficult, but you can do it. I was very wrong. I couldn't get these guys to get on or smash down while these guys were in the block. So what I did is take these back out, put them in the fuel rail, and I'm gonna set it down in there that way. Don't do it the hard way like me. So you seen how I had it set up. I snuck them all in there and I put these nuts on just a tickle to give her some pressure, and then I wiggled left and right just nicely the injector and kept giving a little more pressure to each nut and suck down the injectors while giving them a wiggle, I mean. And they set down perfect. Everything feels tight till these got snug. Now we throw our electrical back on and our fuel line, and we're done with injectors. That simple. Got all the electrical connected and the vacuum hoses. I also put in a battery, and I hit the key a couple times to prime up the fuel system, and so far so good. No leaks. That's a win, finally. So my last little project I got is a leaky water coolant drain plug on the block, and that's it. And then I'll take this thing off of blocks, I'll fire it up, but I think I'm gonna start that tomorrow because it's been a day. It's starting to get dark out and I'm hungry. Last night I talked about the drain plug that I thought was leaking. Turns out it's just a drain plug on the oil filter, oil passageway that wasn't leaking. It was actually antifreeze dripping out of that little black tube that we had fixed previously and running down the side of the block right over that bolt, so it made me think that that's what it was. So all in all, that turned out good. I didn't have to mess with that. And I did try and crank it over last night, and she wouldn't start worth a damn. I tried multiple times. I went through our little check engine light process to see what was up, and I did get a check engine light, which was a manifold pressure sensor, which was just unclipped. I clipped that bad boy back in, and still no start. So I called it a night. It must have been a long night. I came back this morning with 5 gallons of gas, threw that in the tank. I put some antifreeze in the radiator as much as I could, but we gotta warm it up, open up that thermostat, get that water pump pumping to fill up the block. Minus that, I think we're about done with the earth cleaner setup, and this car's ready to go rip around my dad's field. I forgot to mention a little bit ago why it wouldn't start. I did do some research this morning with some fresh eyes, and it was just the ground in the wiring harness that went to the ECM. Yep, a simple fix. We got the ground back on. It did start up, but I shut it back off because I don't want to get it too hot until we get antifreeze in it. So that's what I'm doing, is filling up antifreeze and updating you guys. So just hang in there. We're almost to the fun part. Got some antifreeze in it. I turned the key on, started the car, let it run for 10-15 minutes, and cycle the water pump, heat the motor up so it'll open up that thermostat and let the rest of that fluid flood in. I think it's full. Maybe, hopefully. It doesn't look like there's any leaks, minus what I got on the ground. But I think that's my spillage. I got the air box put back on. So I think I'm done. Other than a test drive at my dad's house. Hey, check out where I ended up. That's right. My dad's place. But on the test drive over, I smelled some burning rubber, and it was quite concerning. I had stopped at the gas station on the way and just looked real quick and didn't see anything. But I kept going and smelt burning rubber again, and when I showed up, I gave her a little more of a hefty look, and well, I got this oversized rear tire, and she seems to be rubbing right here. You can see on the tire where it left a little nice rub mark and started chewing away on the tire. So I'm sad to say I'm not going to be able to run this around all crazy like I did in the previous videos, but maybe next time, if I still have it and put tires on it by the time, whatever. Anyways, it needs tires, and it still has the idle problem, so I think I still am low on coolant, and I need to bleed the system a little better, but that's no big deal. I made it to my dad's place, Plum Customs, so it's great. It did good, handled great, drove good, minus the burning rubber smell. So I'll give you a little sad little drive of shame on the way home instead of a exciting thriller. Okay? So if you enjoyed watching me get my ass handed to myself on this car on simple tasks, please like it, share it to your friends, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll have more. And stay motivated. And thanks for watching. Alright, so I'm finally on my way home after a few hours, because you can never go to Grandpa's house without enjoying a warm snack. And it's definitely not a good thing to enjoy a warm snack and drive. So I would highly suggest enjoy warm snacks responsibly like you would a cold snack, okay? So let's hit the road. Quite a bit of front end noise. Probably some sway bar links or some steering end links or something like that. Tie rod ends or what they call them. My bad. But overall, she drives, she shifts pretty decent. No crazy wobbles on the front end or in the steering wheel. The only weird part is that burning rubber smell coming from that tire on the backside. But you can ignore that if you don't mind blowing a tire. I like to feed her the onions, as Vice Grip Garage says on this road. It's just right to me. I like to feed her the onions at this stop sign too, because that road is also a 65-mile-an-hour road. It's just a good 0 to 60 with a good jump at the train tracks. You floor it right away. Anybody coming? I don't see nobody. I think we're gonna get rowdy. Here we go. another successful test drive. So if, like I said a little bit ago, if you enjoyed me getting my ass handed to me on this car, please give me a like, a subscribe for sure, and tell your friends to come check out the channel, because I'll have plenty more content continuously coming. I got plenty of cars, and I plan on getting more and selling more.